Hi guys, it's Izzy, and in today's video we are going to be discussing Crown of Midnight and Throne of Glass, or Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight. This is going to be partial reading vlog, partial review. I'll do an intro, then do my reading vlog, and then do my review at the end. This is going to be spoilery because I was going to try and make it partially spoilery and partially spoiler free, but I realised pretty much everything I had to talk about was to do with spoilers, so yeah, to kind of get my point across, kind of have to discuss what the book involves. So if you haven't read either of the books, I would suggest not watching this video unless you don't really mind. I don't mind, but I know some people don't like spoilers, so yeah, if you haven't read these books, maybe don't watch this video, but if you have, welcome. I was originally inspired to do this video when I read The Red Scrolls of Magic by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu this year. Now previously, specifically last year, I read the whole of the Mortal Instruments by Cassandra Clare and I pretty much hated all of them. And then this year when I read The Red Scrolls of Magic, I gave The Red Scrolls of Magic 5 stars. So I was like, wow, I read a lot of Cassandra Clare books, not really liked any of them, but now I have found a book I love by Cassandra Clare. Maybe this would be the case for other authors. And then my little brain thought, Sarah J. Maas, we should test it out. So as you may or may not know, if you've watched some of my other videos, my least favourite book of all time is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. This is the second book in the, what's it called, the Court of Thorns and Roses series? Does it have a name? I don't know. I read the first book when I was like 15 and I liked it at the time because I didn't have any critical reading skills, but then I read Akamath last year when I was 19, was I 19? 18 or 19, and I hated it. So I thought I would swear off Sarah J. Maas altogether, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it one last try. That's why this video is called Giving Sarah J. Maas One Last Try, because that is what I'm doing. I read Throne of Glass originally again in 2015, I believe, when I was like 15 or 16, and I think I liked it. I mean, I like put it on Goodreads as I think a 4-star, and I said I enjoyed it, but that doesn't give me a lot of information, Izzy, so thanks past Izzy for nothing. But yeah, Throne of Glass is about an assassin named Selena Sardothian. When this book starts, she is in a prison where pretty much no one makes it out alive. You're probably gonna die in like less than 6 months. But one day the Prince of Adoulin, I don't know how you say it, we're gonna say Adoulin. One day the Prince of Adoulin and the Captain of the Guard come and collect her from the prison and take her back to the castle to compete in a competition to become the king's assassin, the king's champion. So basically this is a competition between killers to see who's the best one. And yeah, there's some hints of magic and stuff. I reread Throne of Glass via audiobook because I didn't really remember much of Throne of Glass, so I'm briefly going to talk about Throne of Glass, but I have already read it, and this is mainly about Crown of Midnight because that is a book that will make or break whether I ever read Sarah J. Maas again. So yeah, I've read Throne of Glass on audiobook, reread it, and I've read Crown of Midnight physically for the first time, and this is basically just to see whether I hate all Sarah J. Maas books or whether A Court of Mist and Fury just really wasn't the series for me and that maybe she had some other books that would interest me. So yeah, as I didn't really remember much about Throne of Glass, I didn't really remember if I had liked it or not, so yeah. And here's some clips I filmed while reading them both, so watch this, then we'll come back for my final review. Okay, we're in the same setup as my last video because I thought I'd film this update here. I am currently about 4.5 hours from the end of Throne of Glass. I've read, I think, about 2/3 of it, I think, and so far, to be honest, my main problem is I'm just bored.
really nothing has happened except they're in this assassins competition and some assassins are dying, but we don't know them, we don't care about them, and really nothing is happening aside from that. It's kind of just Selena participating in this competition and not really doing a lot. Also, I'm so confused, right? Why would you have two characters in the same book called Selena and Elena? Why do you want to confuse my life? I'm listening to this on audiobook and I'm like, who was that, Selena or Elena? I don't know. Why could you not just choose a completely different name? Why did it have to be like exactly the same name minus like one letter? Just unnecessary confusion. That's just a random thing that's annoying me. And also I'm just very confused why Selena is so bothered being labelled as an assassin. Like, she gets kind of annoyed when people refer to her being an assassin and say like what she's like because she's an assassin, but it's like, she is an assassin. So what was she expecting? People would be like, ah, you've killed a bunch of people, but yeah, no, it's fine, you're probably a great person, like, yes, go for it, kill those people, we don't care. Like, she is an assassin. Why is she complaining that she's being called an assassin? She is an assassin. I'm so confused. If you're an assassin, just own the fact that you're an assassin. So yeah, but I was kind of confused why I didn't really remember anything of it, and it's because there's not a lot to remember, to be honest. Like, nothing has happened so far, so yeah, to be honest, I'm just finding it hard to get through because I'm so bored. Like, it's not horrific, it's just boring. So yeah, that's the update for now. Hi guys, it is a few days later, multiple days later. Haven't updated this in a while because I've been kind of busy, but I have been reading. Also, do you like my Avengers t-shirt? I love it. But yeah, I haven't updated this in a little while, but I have been reading. So I finished the audiobook for Throne of Glass. I finished it 2 days ago and I gave it 2 stars, which is better than 1 star, right guys? Yes. I mean, my main problem with it was just so boring. I don't know whether it was because it was a reread or whether it was just a boring book, but like, it was a trial to get through. Like, I never really wanted to listen to it because I was just kind of bored to tears. And I also thought the reveal at the end was very obvious, but I feel like it was very obvious that it was Cain. Like, he was set up as the villain from like day 1. So like, were we supposed to be shocked? Or were we supposed to be like more shocked by it being like Caltaine? Like, I just think the reveal was kind of obvious, kind of sloppy, not really a great reveal, and also the action basically only started at like 10 to 15% from the end. So yeah, that action was like relatively enjoyable, but apart from that it was just kind of boring. And I also just don't get why Dorian and Kale are so obsessed with Selena. Like, she's kind of a basic character. Like, she has very little to her character except that she's like an assassin and she's like so hardcore and she's like such a badass, but like, she doesn't have any other character traits really, and I don't know why they're so obsessed with her. Just can't see it. But yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on the Throne of Glass. But back to the book that we're actually on this video for, and that is Crown of Midnight. Got a pencil on it because I'm annotating. But yeah, I'm currently on page 69. And I've put quite a few tabs in so far. And blue is I don't like whatever thing happened, yellow is I liked whatever thing happened, and pink is just I'm confused. What is the point of this? Why is this happening? Yeah, those are the 3 colours I use. I don't want to make it too confusing by using every colour. Those colours work for me. So yeah, I'm like on page basically 70, and I'm definitely enjoying this one a lot more than Throne of Glass. Like, Throne of Glass, at least the first quarter, like literally nothing happened, and already we're having some action on page like 70, so it's definitely keeping me more entertained than Throne of Glass was. and that's better, so I'm enjoying it in that aspect. So far not a lot has happened, so yeah, I'm like kind of enjoying it, so we'll see where it goes. Hi guys, it is 2 days later. I've just had a shower, which is why my hair is wet, but I wanted to update on my reading progress. I am currently on page 200 of Crown of Midnight. I may have got quite tab happy. I have an addiction to tabs, it's a problem, I need help. But yesterday I was like, the other day I was like, I only need 3 colours, and now I'm like, no, 4 colours, I need 4 colours, I need all the colours. I've added in green because, yeah, there's just been some instances where I'm like, this couldn't be more obvious, like literally could not be more obvious. So I added in green to just where I was kind of like rolling my eyes because it was just kind of stupid, like because it was just so not subtle. So yeah, there's been a few instances of that, but I'm on page 200, so I'm halfway through, and I'm actually definitely enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would be. I thought it would be a book that took me a long while to get through because I just wouldn't want to pick it up, but I'm actually enjoying it. Like, I do actually want to pick it up because I am interested in what's going to happen next. I mean, I'm not like loving it, but it's definitely better than I thought it was going to be, and yeah, I think the plot is kind of stagnating a little bit at this halfway point, so I'm hoping it's gonna speed up a little bit as we get into the second half. But yeah, to be honest, when is Kale gonna get super annoying? Because I feel like there's a book where everyone just hates Kale, and right now it literally sounds like I'm saying kale, the vegetable. Kale? Kale? Kale. I don't know. And yeah, he's not that bad. To be honest, there are a few instances where I had to tab it because he was being stupidly possessive, but overall he's been quite a support to Selena and has for the most part stayed in his lane, so I don't really understand his, like, the hate he has. So let me know down in the comments at which point I'm gonna start like loathing Kale. I don't mind Kale. Dorian really isn't in it that much, but he is starting to get a plot line with his whole like magical deal thing, I don't know. And Nehemia is by far my favourite character. There's 2 things I know that happen in this series, and that, I mean, I'm glad I've managed to steer away from that many spoilers, but I do know that what Selena's real name is, and that I'm pretty sure Nehemia dies at the end of this book, and I'm not a fan of either of those things, so I'm not really looking forward to those happening. And yeah, that's all I've got to say for now. I'm enjoying it more than I thought I would. I'm not hating it. I kind of want to know what happens next, but I am scared for things to happen that I'm not a fan of. So yeah, and also Selena's just a boring basic character, so that's all for now. We're back in the same place because this is the place with the best lighting and the least setup required, so here we are again. But I am currently on page 312 of Crown of Midnight. I'm like almost done, and we've got slightly less tabs in this section. I've only really tabbed like 1 thing for the last 100 pages because it's been kind of like hardcore, like it's not really been a lot of like character moments or character dialogue, it's mainly just been hardcore Selena. And I don't know if this makes me seem like a bad person, but I kind of like Psycho Selena. Like, she's cool. Like, I don't know, she's so much more interesting than when she's like, oh, I don't want to kill people. I'm like, she just stab a bitch, you know what I mean? Like, just stab someone. Go for it, Selena. Love the vibe you're giving me. But yeah, I've been a lot more interested in Selena since she turned kind of wild, and it's made me want to pick up the book more because I'm like, oh, Selena, what are you gonna do next? Love that for her. And yeah, I mean, Kale sucks. Like,
don't care about him anymore. Yeah, he's just the reason for a lot of things happening, and I'm no longer a fan. Not that I was really a fan before, but I wasn't not a fan. So yeah, now I'm officially not a fan. Dorian has barely been in this book, but like I'm glad Selena still has Dorian. That's great. Like he's had a few iffy moments, but he is trying to do his best to support Selena. I feel like he's ditched his bro Kale though, which I think is cold, but you know. And yeah, I'm enjoying, like there's been quite a lot of more action because Selena's being kind of on a rampage, which I'm down for, so I'm loving that part. And yeah, so far, like this is definitely, in my opinion, been quite a lot better than the first half, just because it's been a lot more action and a lot less, oh I like her, oh you like her, oh we both like her, oh I don't know who I want to chew, oh you're so annoying, oh no now I like, and it's like got a bit tiring. So yeah, I've kind of enjoyed the break from the relationship drama, and I'm pretty interested in the whole word mark thing, and the word gate thing seems interesting. Big fan, want to know what's up. And yeah, I do feel like there's quite a lot of obvious foreshadowing, which I'll go over in my like final review. So I've got quite a lot of green tabs in here, so that's kind of like, oh, you could try a bit harder to like downplay it, but yeah, I'm having a pretty good time at the moment. Like I kind of don't want Selena to go back to normal Selena, kind of enjoying wild Selena. So yeah, that's all for now. I really want to finish this book today. Don't know if it's going to be possible, but I definitely want to finish it tomorrow. So yeah, talk to you in a minute. Okay, so we're back, and let's sum up my thoughts. I'm briefly going to talk about Throne of Glass, but only briefly because I've not got a whole lot to say about it, to be honest. Throne of Glass, boring. That's really the only word I have for Throne of Glass, is I just was so bored. Literally, so little of it actually went into my brain because I just like completely checked out every time I listened to it on audiobook. I just did not care about any of it. It just was not up my alley. I pretty much need a book to have a good plot unless I'm literally in love with the characters. Then I can kind of like forgive if a plot's a little slow because I'm just enjoying the time with the characters, but I really did not care about the characters enough to have such a slow plot. Like I really am not joking when I say nothing happened. There were people dying, but we didn't know any of them, so I cared literally 0% about any of the people that were dying. And yeah, I just didn't care. I thought the relationship drama was boring and I didn't really care about any of them. I didn't care who Selena wanted to date, if she wanted to date Kale or Dorian. I prefer Dorian, but I really was not bothered, and I just think it was a very sloppy beginning, to be honest. I believe this is her debut novel. Is it her debut novel? So I can kind of forgive the plot structure because I do understand that you do obviously get better at writing as you practice. But I just couldn't, I didn't care about the plot, I didn't care about the characters. So all in all, it made for a pretty boring and uneventful reading experience. So I ended up giving it 2 stars. I may bump it down to 1.5 stars because it just really didn't do anything for me. The only reason I didn't give it like 1 star is because it didn't do anything awful in my opinion. Like it didn't, there was nothing I hated about it, so that's why I didn't give it like a 1 star, because Akamath is on a 1 star level and this is no Akamath, that's for sure. So yeah, it wasn't the worst book I've ever read, but I really did not care for anything about it. So yeah, I didn't annotate this because I read it via audiobook, but I did annotate Crown of Midnight, and to be honest, we had a lot of tabs at the beginning, but towards the end as the action started, I was kind of just like, oh yes, what's gonna happen next? Yes, love it. So Crown of Midnight basically just follows directly on from Throne of Glass. We follow Selena as she has now become the King's Champion, and she is being ordered to kill these people that she's not killing because she doesn't want to do anything the king says, which, I mean, do what you gotta do. But I have a lot of thoughts about this, and to be honest, they kind of even out at the end. So let's get started. We're going to start off with just the general craft and skill of writing in this book. I think it was average. I think the world building was really poor. We really do not learn a whole lot about anything to do with any of the places mentioned in this book. There is very, very, very little world building, and I think that's something that could have enriched the book had it been there. I know there are another like 3 or 4 books, so I'm sure we will get world building, but I think by the second book you should have a pretty good idea of how the world works and what the places sort of look like and how they work, and we really did not get any of that in this book or in Throne of Glass. So that was definitely a criticism I had, and I think would have made this book quite a bit better. And also the magic system is also like one of the least fleshed out magic systems I've ever read about. They mention magic all the time. They just use that word, they throw it around. Magic isn't here anymore, we don't have magic anymore. What magic though, guys? Tell me what magic we no longer have, because I'm so confused. What form of magic did they have? Someone tell me, please, because it is so unclear. Like, almost every chapter we have to mention about the fact that magic is no longer a thing in Adalyn. I don't know how you say this stupid word. Adalyn. But yeah, we keep hearing about how the king got rid of magic. Magic hadn't been in Adalyn for 10 years. Boo-hoo. But I'm like, who had the magic? What kind of powers did they have? How many people had it? How long had they had it before? What form did it take? What did it cost to use magic? Did everyone have a different style of magic? Was it all the same sort of magic? Was it elemental magic? Did you have wands? What is it? Someone tell me. That bothered me so much because I was like, you keep saying this word magic, but it means nothing to me. So yeah, that probably bothered me more than the world building, to be honest. It literally drove me crazy. I was like, what magic? If a bitch doesn't tell me soon, I'm gonna lose my mind. So yeah, that kind of took away a bit from the storytelling and really pushed it down in my ratings because I just didn't think it was fleshed out nearly enough. And again, in terms of craft, I do think the plot was done pretty well, much better than the first one. The pacing was a lot more even in my opinion. Obviously there's a climax towards the end of the book where obviously the pacing gets faster, but I think overall, my arm, why is my t-shirt's blending in with the door? Do I look like I have no body? Yes. But yeah, the plot I think was pretty well done. I did think it stagnated a little bit about at the halfway point, but overall I think it was pretty well paced and I didn't feel like we were moving too quickly or too slowly at any point really. And after the halfway mark we really got into it and the plot was flying and I was loving it. So yeah, I think the plot was done 10 times better than in the first book, for sure. Now on to characters. I'm going to talk about each character separately and then about the relationships. First we have Selena. Selena, I don't think has enough personality. She doesn't really have any personality traits except she likes food, she reads books and she kills people. So that's Selena. But overall the first half of the book I just didn't care for her. Like, I didn't really hate her, I just didn't really enjoy her. She was just sort of middle of the road. I was like, okay Selena, do you boo, but like, you're kind of boring. Like, I think that's probably why I enjoyed the second part so more, because Selena got way more interesting. Obviously after Nehemiah's death, the girl lost it and I was here for it. I loved Selena in the second half because that was what I'd expected going into Throne of Glass and going into Crown of Midnight. She's supposed to be like the most dangerous person in all of Adalyn and she's supposed to be this like hardcore assassin. She's ruthless, she'll kill anyone, she knows how to kill everyone, like she's hardcore ruthless. And then she like doesn't kill anyone for like 1.5 books, and I'm like, this is not what I signed up for. But yeah, I just didn't really get. That's what really confused me, because I was like, you're an assassin, but you're not assassinating anyone. This is not what I signed up for. But yeah, once a flip switched after Nehemia's death, I was all about Selena. I was like, yes, yes, Selena, yes. I love Selena after that, because she was so much more interesting, and she was actually ruthless, the assassin I expected her to be, and it just made a lot more sense. I was like, there's the assassin that I was expecting from these books. So yeah, once Selena snapped, I was all there for her. Good for you, Selena. Then we have Dorian, who did not get enough page time. Where was Dorian in this book? He literally had like maybe 10% of the book. Like, he did not get enough time, he did not get enough character development, he did not get any character arcs, he just got his little bit of magic and that was it. So I kind of felt bad for Dorian, to be honest, and I don't really have much to say except he was respectful. I wrote down, yay Dorian, on page 119, because he said he would move on, because he would not be like the ancient kings in the song and keep her for himself. She's deserved a loyal, brave knight who saw her for what she was and did not fear her. And he deserved someone who would look at him like that, even if the love wouldn't be the same, even if the girl wouldn't be her. So Dorian closed his eyes and took another long breath, and when he opened his eyes, he let her go. And I was like, there's a mature decision. That's a mature character decision. Thank you, Dorian, for being mature. Like, he was like, if Kale makes Selena happy, then good for her. And I was like, wow, who knew, Dorian, that you could be so nice? What a great choice, because that's not usually how love triangles work out, as we know. So yeah, I liked Dorian, but we barely saw him, so there wasn't really much time for me not to like him. Then we have Kale, who was okay until he killed Nehemia. You may be thinking, Izzy, he didn't kill Nehemia. He may as well have done, because he was dumb, and the reason that she got killed, because he was like, nothing suspicious about this, I shouldn't tell anyone, like, this seems legit. Kale, you're dumb. Really, I just don't like Kale that much anymore. I did like him, now I don't like him, and I do think he was way too possessive and also not very trusting of her, and he definitely didn't trust her to do her own job that, you know, she literally won a whole competition for. Like, he just was like, oh, you need to be careful, and it's like, Selena's like, I've been doing this since I was like 8, so shut up, Kale. So yeah, I was like, just let her do her thing, Kale. And he was just not a great love interest. Not a big fan. Not great. Then we have the love of my life, Nehemia. Is she dead? Not in my brain, she's not. But yes, they kill Nehemia, worst decision that was ever made. I do get that Selena needed an incentive to go wild, but couldn't we have killed Kale? Would have done the same thing, and I wouldn't have missed him. Seems like the better choice. But yeah, Nehemia was great. She had so many good points. She was just killing it left and right. I will read you some of the great things she said. Okay, so they're talking about the fact that Dorian isn't that worried about the like prison camps, and Nehemia's like, you got Selena out and you wouldn't let her go back, so why aren't you helping anyone else out? So Nehemia says, if she was sent back, would you free her? And Dorian says, of course I would, but it's complicated. Nehemia says, there is nothing complicated, it is the difference between right and wrong. The slaves in those camps are people who love them just as much as you loved my friend. And I was like, yes, Nehemia, you tell him. And also, probably the best scene of the book, it was great, was when Selena was being selfish and Nehemia was like, Selena says, there is no hope in standing against him, not now, not ever, in relation to the king. And I will not be a part of whatever plan you have. I will not help you get yourself killed and bring down even more innocent people in the process. Nehemia says, you will not help because all you care about is yourself. And so what if I do? Selena says, so what if I want to spend the rest of my life in peace? Nehemia says, "There can never be any peace, not while he reigns. When you said you weren't killing the men on his list, I thought you were finally taking a step toward making a stand. I thought that when the time came, I could count on you to help me start planning. I didn't realise that you were doing it just to keep your own conscience clean. I didn't realise that you're just a coward." And I was like, yes, Nehemia, you tell her. Like, that was just part of the scene, but the whole scene was excellent and was peak Nehemia. So in terms of problematic points, the main one is that she killed off the only person of colour, Nehemia. Nehemia was the only one that wasn't white out of everyone else in the book, and then she died, so love that choice. But yeah, that was the main problematic thing for me, and it definitely had way less problematic content than in A Court of Mist and Fury, but again, killing off the only person of colour, not a great move. And also possessiveness around Selena, and also there were quite a lot of instances of Selena like slut shaming and just like general girl hating, which I thought was very unnecessary. She just looked down on women who were like giggly and like not hardcore like her, and it's like not everyone's the same Selena. So yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the girl hate. Like, the only girl she liked was Nehemia, so I wasn't a big fan of that part. And then some other points, I think the foreshadowing with her being Aelin was totally obvious. I did already know that going in, that she was Aelin, because I've heard everyone say her other name, but I think they may as well have written in the beginning of the book, Selena is Aelin, because it was just so obvious, so I think that could have been done better. I really don't know why Dorian and Kale's relationship suffered so much during this book over Selena. Like, you're telling me these boys have been friends for like years and years and years, like best friends, and they're really gonna like ditch each other over a girl? Didn't seem that realistic to me, and I really didn't get that, because they were supposed to be like BFFs, and yeah, they just didn't act like it, and I thought it was ridiculous that it was all ditched over a girl. And also, Selena's so dumb. You're telling me that on page 355, this girl walks in, she's trying to solve this riddle, right? This part of the riddle says, "In grief he hid one in the crown, of her he loved so well, to keep with her where she lay down inside the starry cell." She's been going to this tomb surrounded by stars for like a year, and that didn't click. It's made of, there's stars everywhere. There's a tomb, there's a crown, and there are stars everywhere, and you're telling me it took her 350 pages to work this out? I was like, oh my god, Selena, you are testing me, girl. You are testing me. She's so dumb. Like, that would have taken me 2 seconds to figure out. She was standing inside a cell surrounded by stars, and that just didn't even enter her mind. Selena, are you okay? Are you okay, Selena? So yeah, overall, I'm not 100% sure on my rating. I think either 3 or 3.5 stars. It definitely was better than I was expecting. After rereading Throne of Glass, I had less and less hope, but it definitely was better than I expected, and I really did enjoy the plot. I'm not sure if I will be continuing with the series, as I know the third book is definitely a slower one. I may pick it up on audiobook eventually. It certainly won't be next on my list, but I am curious to see what happened. Overall, I'm glad I read this book. I'm glad I had much more of a positive experience than I did with Akamath, and yeah, I'm not sad that I ended up reading this book. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, the reading vlog, and my thoughts on these books. Let me know some of your thoughts down below, if you agreed or disagreed with anything I said, and tell me how magic works, because it's gonna haunt me. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I would love it if you would subscribe and join me on my channel, and if you want to check out my Twitter and Goodreads, they're down below. You can add me, follow me, whatever. I would love for you to stick around. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful rest of the day, and I will see you next time. Bye!